Hello guys, I am Satyam and you are here on our one and all lovely channel Satyam Ideal Learning. And guys, today we will be discussing about our abiotic component. We have already discussed about biotic component in my previous lecture. I have taught you. Now we will be discussing about abiotic component. Abiotic means non-living. Okay. Now let's discuss about abiotic component. So the abiotic component of an ecosystem comprises of the air, water, light, temperature and soil. Okay. So these are the 5 things that are part of the abiotic component of ecosystem. Okay, so air, water, light, temperature and soil are the 5 parts which are these are the parts of the abiotic component of an ecosystem. Now let's discuss about each of them in the greater detail. First of all, we will be discussing about air. Air is the most essential part of the abiotic component. Now, air helps regulate the range of temperature on Earth. So, this is the very first point we have to remember about air, that air helps in the regulation of the range of temperature on Earth. Okay, and air has some of the gases which traps the heat. Okay, so air has some of the gases like carbon dioxide which traps the heat so as the earth would not freeze at night. Okay, because if there will be no gases for the trapping of the heat, then the earth would have been frozen up in the night. No? So there are some of the gases like carbon dioxide which help in the trapping of the heat. And the air also helps to prevent our earth from the ultraviolet radiation. Okay, so that the earth could not become so hot in the day. Clear this thing? So it helps in the prevention of the earth from the ultraviolet radiation also, so as the earth could not become so hot in the daytime. Now, it has all the gases that we and other living beings need. Clear guys this thing, that it has all the gases that we and living beings need. Now, when we take the gases in the air, we first think about the oxygen. Oxygen is the most important gas for us, no? Because we respire with the help of oxygen. And oxygen also helps in the burning, combustion. Okay, burning or combustion we say. So oxygen helps in respiration as well as in combustion. And oxygen is 21% in the atmosphere, guys. Okay, and nitrogen. Then comes nitrogen. Nitrogen is the most abundant gas in the atmosphere with 78%. Okay, so nitrogen is 78% and it helps in many things. It helps plants as well as animals. Oh, clear? So it helps animals by making proteins. Clear this thing? It helps animals. Nitrogen makes proteins, and proteins are the building ones. They build our body. Okay, so proteins help in the building of our body. They build up our body. Clear this thing? Protein. And the plant also uses nitrogen. But how the plant is using? There are some of the bacteria like rhizobium. Rhizobium are found on the nodules of the leguminous plants like pea, gram. Okay, these are the leguminous plants, and in the nodules of the leguminous plants there are some of the bacteria which are called rhizobium. And what they help? Rhizobium helps in the conversion of the nitrogen into nitrogen compounds. It breaks the nitrogen into nitrogen compounds, which is called nitrate, and then the plant use this nitrate. Clear this thing? And we are dependent on plants for food. So the animals which are eating directly the plants, they are also getting nitrogen and they are also digesting it. Okay, they are also absorbing the nitrate compounds, nitrogen compounds, nitrate in the form of nitrate. Now moving air is useful to living world in many ways. First of all, I want to say about carbon dioxide also. Carbon dioxide helps in the photosynthesis, no? So carbon dioxide also helps in the photosynthesis and the trapping of the heat, no? And ozone also. There is ozonosphere. In the layer of the atmosphere, there is one layer which is called ozone. Ozonosphere. Okay, ozonosphere is the layer in which there is ozone gas, and ozone gas protects the earth from the UV rays. Okay, so it protects our earth from the UV rays. Clear this thing? Now we are coming on moving air. Moving air means wind. Wind is useful to living world in many ways, guys. Yes, this is the most important thing. Wind also helps in carrying the moisture like clouds. It carries the clouds from one place to another place, and thus it also helps in the distribution of the rain. It also distributes the rain, because when the wind will come, the clouds will move from one place to another place. And when the clouds will move, when they are heavy, they will do first rain at a particular place, and then the wind help them to go to another place, and then they will do rain. So the wind is helping in the distribution of rain. Clear this thing? So moving air or wind is useful to living world in many ways, and it also helps in the pollination, no? Wind pollination, as we have already discussed also in the pollination one. So wind pollination is there. So wind takes the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. Clear this thing? Now moving air also helps in one more thing. This is the most important thing, guys. The predators, you know, na? Predators that eat the flesh of other animals. Okay, so they eat other animals, dead organisms. So the wind helps to carry the smell from the prey to the predators, so that the predators have a path so that they can locate the prey. Okay, so that they can locate the prey. That is why wind is helpful to them also. Clear this thing about air? So we have discussed, guys, most of the things about the air in detail. Now we're coming in the water. Now water, as we already know, it is the basic one. It is the basic requirement of all living beings. We drink water, we bath with water, we use water in most of the things, guys. No, so it is the basic requirement of all the living beings. But the requirement of water is one thing. The requirement of water is one of the things that determine kind of habitat an organism prefers. Now, listen it carefully, guys. Requirement of the water is varying from one organism to other organism. So the requirement of water varies from one organism to another organism. So the requirement of water is one of the things that determine the kind of habitat where a organism lives. Habitat is the where an organism lives. So it determines the kind of habitat an organism prefers. To an organism prefers. Which kind of habitat an organism is preferring. But now I have told you that the requirement of water varies from organism to organism. Now how it is varying? So I am telling you, guys. See, some of the organisms are there that need lots of water. They need lots of water. So they are aquatic. They live in water. They are underwater. They are aquatic organisms. Clear this thing? Now, there are some of the animals or organisms which need less water in comparison than those of the aquatic ones. Okay, so they need less water. So they live on land. Now, in the land also there are variations. In the land there are some of the animals that can survive in very less water. So they live in desert areas. And in the lands there are some of the animals which needs the water in the, you can say, the in a high quantity. Okay, those who are surviving on the land. So they are living in the area that has rainfall, that has the lots of rainfall. Okay, and you know, in desert there is no rainfall or very little rainfall. No, so in desert there is no rainfall. This is how the requirement of water is varying from one organism to another organism. Clear this thing? Now we will be coming on the light. So we have already discussed air, water. Now we will be discussing about the light. Light is the main source of energy. Clear this thing? Light is the main source of energy and it is very, very important, guys. Now why the light is needed? Light is needed by green plants. First of all, green plants need light. But there are some of the green plants which need less light. No? So there are some of the green plants which need less light. So light also varies, okay, from plants to plants. Now why they need light? Green plants need light so that they can make their food with the help of photosynthesis. Through photosynthesis they make their food in the presence of what? In the presence of light and the chlorophyll. Okay, in the presence of light and chlorophyll they make their food with the help of what? With the help of carbon dioxide and water. Clear this thing? So light is needed by green plants. Green plants are also known as autotrophs. They are self-getting food. Okay, self means autos and trophos means getting food. Okay, so light is needed by green plants. And it is another factor which determine kind of habitat of an organism. It also determines in which habitat an organism lives. Okay, I have told you that in plants also there are some of the plants that need less light. So they live in shady areas. They live in dense areas in the shade of the high trees. Okay, you have seen the Amazon rainforest. It is very much dense. So the small plants which need less light, they are in the shade of the higher trees. Clear this thing? And light, and it affects the day-night variations. Okay, the day-night variations in the organisms. Clear this thing? So they also affects the day-night variations in the organism, in the habits of the organism, in the behavior of an organism. Now, in plants you have been seeing that there are some of the plants which bloom at night. No? There are some of the plants which bloom at night. And there are some of the flowers that opens in the morning and close in the evening. And you have noticed there are some of the animals also, like owls. Owls, what it do? It activates in the night. So it is active in night, whereas in day we all are active. No? So it also depends. So it also affects day-night variations. So light is very important and light affects day-night variations. Clear, guys, this thing? Now we will be coming on temperature. Temperature. We have already done light. Now we will be coming on temperature. temperature also determines life forms inhabiting an area. Okay, so it also determines the life forms inhabiting an area by an organism. Okay, an organism inhabits a place, no? So it also determines the life forms inhabiting an area. Now, how it affects temperature? No, so temperature varies from place to place. You know, guys, temperature also varies in the seasons. It changes from one season to another season. Now you have been seeing that there are cold climate, hot climate. No, so there are different animals in the cold climate. There are different animals in the hot climate. So the animals are also preferring their climate. No, they are depending on the temperature on which they can survive. Clear, guys, this thing? So temperature to determine life forms inhabiting an area. Okay, so the plants and animals which can live in the cold climate are living in the cold climate, like firs and cedars. Okay, pine. These are the plants, no? And polar bears, snow leopard. These are living in the cold climate. And in the hot climate, there are some of the lizards. No? So there are some. Now, we will be discussing about the hibernation and estivation. Hibernation and estivation. Now, frogs remain underground and sleep throughout winter, and it is called hibernation. Okay, so there are frogs and some more animals which remains underground throughout the whole winter. Throughout the winter, they are underground and they are dormant in stage. Okay, and they stores their food. Clear this thing? They store their food and they remain underground and sleep throughout the winter, and they are and this is called hibernation. It is the period in which an organism is in the dormant stage and it spends its whole winter in underground. Okay, and desert animals spend entire summer in state of sleep, which is called estivation. Okay, estivation. So you have to remember this hibernation and estivation. I am repeating the definition once more. Frogs remain underground and sleep throughout the winter and is called hibernation. Desert animals spend entire summer in state of sleep is called estivation. Clear this thing? So animals are also there are variations in the temperature. Okay, so temperature is changing from season to season. So now this is the winter climate. Now this is winter. So the temperature we are feeling very cold. No. So there are some of the organisms which live in moderate climate. Now we will be coming on soil. Now plants grow on soil. We know plants grow on soil, and soils have the water and minerals which they give them the plants, which they give to the plants. Okay, so plants grow on soil and it determines the type of vegetation a place has. Okay, so the plants which grow on soil needs water and minerals, and water and minerals are coming from soil only. No, are coming from soil only. And the soil is the top layer, on which the plants grow. It is the top layer of the earth's crust on which the plants grow. Okay, and it determines the type of vegetation a plant a place has. Sorry guys, it determines the type of vegetation a place has. And you know that animals are dependent on plant for food, so it also determines the type of animals for a particular place. Okay, you know, in deserts there are thorny plants. No, there are thorny plants. So there are very less people, no? And in plain areas, there are many plants, and the vegetation is fertile. It is very fertile. Okay. So it determines the type of vegetation a place has, and the animals and people also, human beings also. Now, fertile loamy soil support growth of dense vegetation. When there will be dense vegetation, then the people will go there only, na? Because there is dense vegetation, and they are dependent directly or indirectly for plants, no, for plants for food, on plants for food. So fertile loamy soil support growth of dense vegetation, whereas sandy desert soil is not good for plant life. It is not good for plant life. Okay, and there are very less people in the desert areas. Clear as this thing. And the animals are also adapted like that way also only. Because in deserts, there are camels. No, there are camels in deserts which can drink water at a time, very large amount of water they can drink at a time. So thank you guys. Bye bye. We'll meet at the next time. We have completed the abiotic component chapter, abiotic component topic. So thank you guys, and bye bye. We'll meet at the next time very soon.